All right. To start with, I just want to extend my heartfelt gratitude to Prashant, Sagar, and the entire core team for putting together this fantastic conference on discussing very contemporary issues, Urbanova 2025. Very insightful plenary panel and keynote addresses have set the tone very well. And the task we are being assigned is to discuss on the review and the progress of smart cities. Another, let's say, a kingpin in the overall development of India. As we are already heading towards the centenary year 2047 and in the Amrut Kal, the focus shifts from being developing nation to getting to be a developed nation. And smart cities conceived right on the trot of taking on this government way back in 2015 is one of the critical ingredients of making this transition from developing nation to a developed nation. Looking back over a decade, how things have panned out is a very insightful thing to do. There are so many things to learn from, so many aspects to ponder over. And I'm blessed to have very enlightened and enriched panel of professionals who are going to share their perspectives, not only from the policy advocacy perspective, not only from the tech perspective, but also from somebody who has actually been there, done that. So my name is Dr. Ravindra Utgikar. I represent an organization called Wilo India, part of Wilo's German MNC. And we are into the sustainable water transportation solutions business, providing pump and pumping systems to ensure that the sustainable development goals of clean and hygiene water for everybody, alongside there are 7 other goals with which we align, are fulfilled. Sustainability is our core value. Starting with Mr. Ashok, may I quickly request to introduce themselves before we hit our first round of discussions.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ashok Punjwani, and I'm into I would say, Dholera SIR. It's the first high-tech smart city of India. I'm into that. I'm representing that, and I'm with one of the main developer in that area, the J. Joshi Infra Projects Pvt Ltd. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. Shailesh?
Hi everybody, my name is Shailesh Pathak. I am heading Urban Planning Division in Pureways Infra Pvt Ltd. We are based in Delhi and we work pan-India, across India and abroad also. Like we are involved in almost 3 smart cities like Kohima, Aizawl, and we were part of Udaipur Smart City PMC team. And also we are into constructions and engineering and architecture consultancy sectors. So, thank you.
Thank you. Aditya?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Aditya Sharma. I am a director with PwC. I mainly drive cities and urban transformation. I've been part of this government advocacy practice now for almost 10 years, and I've been blessed to be part of multiple smart cities over the years, and I've been closely working with the mission.
Thank you, Aditya. That was really nice. As we all know, there are 8 pillars on which the smart city mission rests. And they are infrastructure, energy, healthcare, mobility, governance, citizens, technology. And we are, in the interest of time, we will not be able to dive deep in each of these. But we would certainly try and do best we can in the limited time that we have. So kicking it off straight away, Aditya, I'm going to go to you. You've been involved in this right from the conception of smart city, and the very fundamental of smart city is based on the technology piece. So would you kindly throw light on how this has evolved and how technology continues to play a very critical role in assimilating, disseminating data and making informed decisions to dissect all these 8 pillars of smart city?
Very rightly said. Technology is something which the mission has given to the country in a big way. Not to say that tech was not being used in government or with ULBs or with cities, but what this mission did, is bring technology to the mainstream. It became one of the first and the key driver to everything.
Right.
Across all these 8 pillars that you're talking about, each and every municipal department was doing their services, was providing citizen services using some amount of technology. But with the advent of smart cities, it became mainstream. It became the first lens when they thought about any initiative. Today, if you see, around in last 10 years, 1.64 lakh crores of projects have been conceived under smart city. Around 1.47 lakh have been completed. Apart from core mainstream infrastructure, there is not a single project that would not have a technology element. In fact,
Perfect, yes.
implementation of mainstream infra is also monitored through some tech. And one of the key notions from the people who conceptualized it in the central ministry was to use data.
Yes.
We have so much of data across everything, and we saw wonderful presentations today about procurement, about sustainable procurement. All of that is possible when we are able to, look at the data, analyze what is required, and that's what is smart cities' biggest giveaway to all the cities.
And you make informed decisions based on that data.
The entire policy making here on for the next steps in any city is going to be based on those data. The ICCCs that you see are one of the single most incremental and I would say defining projects that any city is taking. And it's not just the individual smart city that is taking it up. If a smart city sets up an ICCC, all the surrounding small town urban centers that are going to come up can leverage it, and there are use cases being done. There are use cases being driven in Maharashtra, if you see, where smart city projects are being taken up into smaller cities with the help of the nodal city.
Perfect.
So
yes.
That's how the technology, data, all of it has been now ingrained into the urban transformation.
Wonderful. And with the advent of quantum computing and super fast processing of the data, we are only going to see that how it takes us to the next level.
Certainly.
No wonder they say data is new oil as long as you are able to refine it.
Yeah.
Perfect. Let me come to you, Ashok. Dholera is recognized as the first smart city. And our panel talks about review of the smart city developments. So who can be a better person than you to have actually faced it grounds up? What were because you did something which never existed, right? So would you kind of give us a sense of how this whole project was conceived, where it is now? Thank you.
सी फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल मैं चाहूँगा आप इमेजिन कीजिए कि आप आसमान की तरफ देखो तो आपको कहीं कोई वायर नहीं दिखे, कोई पोल्स नहीं दिखे, सीधा आपको आसमान दिखे. मैं इसको सपनों का शहर कहता हूँ और ये हमारे मोदी जी का ड्रीम प्रोजेक्ट है. एंड मैं 10 साल से हूँ इसमें, ज़ीरो से स्टार्ट किया था. तो मैंने जंगल से मंगल होते देखा है और अभी इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर फर्स्ट फेज़ का 90% हो चुका है. L&T इज़ वर्किंग ऑन दैट. एंड एज अ मेन डेवलपर्स एक कह सकता हूँ कि इकलौते डेवलपर है जो कंपनी में मैं वाइस प्रेसिडेंट हूँ. तो बहुत ही क्लोजली एमडी के साथ काम कर रहा हूँ. और ये शहर ऐसा है, देखिए हाईटेक के लिए कहूँगा, इट्स फर्स्ट हाईटेक स्मार्ट सिटी ऑफ इंडिया, लार्जेस्ट इन द वर्ल्ड. ये फोर्ब्स ने डिक्लेयर किया है. एंड इसमें हाईटेक का मतलब ये देखिए, आप 10 फीट हाइट पे ऊंचा उठा के डक्ट बेस बनाया है. इसमें कहीं भी आप देखोगे वायरस वगैरह जो भी होते हैं कनेक्शन कोई शहर को लगते हैं, कंसील्ड है. और उसके लिए एबीसीडी बिल्डिंग रेडी है कि कहीं कुछ छोटा सा भी फॉल्ट है तो वहाँ बजर बजेगा, अंदर ही जाके ठीक करके आएंगे, कहीं खोदना नहीं पड़ेगा. नॉर्मल सिटीज़ में देखिए हर जगह वो खोद रहा है. यहाँ फ्यूचर में कभी खोदा नहीं जाएगा, कंसील सिस्टम है और पूरे शहर को जो एबीसी बिल्डिंग जो है कंट्रोल करेगी. जो भी बिज़नेस वगैरह के लिए आना है तो 1 पॉइंट कनेक्ट है, परमिशंस फास्ट मिलती है. सपोज़ उसमें किसी को कोई बिज़नेस करना है तो गवर्नमेंट से लोग आते हैं, भाई कब शुरू करना है, आइए साथ में करते हैं, लाइक दैट. So this is the thing, as a high-tech city, I can say.
It's indeed a dream that is getting realized right in front of your eyes. Amazing. I mean, once thought impossible is now being made possible. Amazing. You know, I'm going to come to you, Shailesh, and there is a famous saying that Jal hai to Jeevan hai. You know, water is the very essence of life. And recently at World Economic Forum in Davos, there was a report released and in which the global risks were identified. And they identified top risks for each country also. And for India and India's development, water shortage and scarcity is identified as one of the biggest risks. Now, when it comes to smart city, we are talking about infrastructure solutions, mobility solutions, smart citizen solutions, healthcare. Water is one such element which dissects across everything, right? You've been working in this space and you've been developing innovative wastewater treatment solutions, conceiving them, overseeing them, STPs, sewage treatment plant solutions. How do you see them fitting into this whole thing of smart cities?
Yeah, definitely. When we talk about smart city and into water and wastewater sector, we know the smart city has lots of project in convergence and work closely with other missions like Amrut,
Yes.
Jal Jeevan Mission,
Correct.
and Swachh Bharat Mission,
Yes.
and there's Har Ghar Nal.
Null.
So all these projects are also brought into convergence into smart city.
Perfect,
Now,
yes.
when we talk about wastewater management, we have to start from the root, from water supply system.
Yes.
And how do you monitor that? There's also a best example for Chennai, which I think most of us must be aware that once Chennai was on the verge of the groundwater was almost vanished,
Yes,
right? So now today the condition is that Chennai has started working upon recycling and reusing the water and supplying them for industrial use and landscaping use. So the entire city landscaping and industrial water uses, maybe for any kind of thing, there are various uses for water system in industries, maybe for washing, maybe non-portable use. So they have started working on that, and then it's working very fine. So what, in my experience, we have worked extensively on water supply system and wastewater management system in Udaipur Smart City, where our thoughts started with redevelopment of Ayad River. Riverfront redevelopment was proposed, and we thought riverfront redevelopment cannot be possible without tapping the the drain water or the storm water.
Sure, yes.
So whatever flows into the river has to be tapped, controlled.
Yes.
And then, so what we started, we proposed STP, we started we installed smart meter system so that people have the value of water. They don't waste the water,
Correct.
they don't deplete the ground water,
Yes.
they don't just, also rainwater harvesting, so that the natural source of water does not get wasted and just flow into rivers and water bodies and contaminate them. So what we have to look forward is both the wastewater system is not fully possible without controlling the water supply system. You have to constantly monitor through technologies, through data. Now we talk about data. So we have installed smart sensors in
Whatever you
household.
can measure, you can manage.
Right. So if there is leakages, we have to control the leakages. So all these factors plays an important role in water supply system and wastewater management system also.
Brilliant. So the idea is to minimize the water footprint,
Right.
conserve groundwater,
Right.
control fresh water usage,
Right.
go into the circular economy of reduce, recycle, reuse, replenish, repurpose, rescale, even refuse,
Right.
so that we are able to conserve the most precious resource. It also aligns with the clarion call our Prime Minister Modi gave in 2026 COP26 Glasgow Summit of lifestyle for environment, where he also spoke about we should move away from mindless consumption to mindful utilization of our resources. This is very insightful. So that brings us to the next round, and in this next round, we are trying to focus, taking a quick peek at the future, how the future holds, and where do we go from here. So, and I'm going to go to you, Aditya. We spoke that when you conceived this project in 2015, it was a nice blueprint, and you see this getting realized. Many of the infra projects take, multiple years to get completed. All other ecosystem has to tag along. Everything like a nice symphony has to work in tandem, right? So we see that happening. But the journey, in going forward, if you can throw some light, where do we go from here?
As you rightly said, it's an ongoing thing. It will take a lot of time. From here on, I believe the journey is toward becoming more sustainable. And I'm not just throwing a jargon, because sustainability is something that everyone now talks about. Like few years back, consultant used to talk about strategy. That's not it. We actually need the future to be sustainable.
Sure.
If you look at today, when you all were traveling, I'm sure most of you are in Bombay, but some of you came from outside. Even if you go on a coastal road, you may not see the buildings around. That's because your AQI has been so bad. That's because of smog. And we can claim a lot of reasons to it, but that is our new reality. And that is seen across cities. Doctor is from Pune, one of the most coolest city, no longer.
And I think it's ranking in top
Most
ranking
polluted.
of the smart cities,
Yeah,
right?
in smart cities also. It's been one of the most consistently ranked top smart city. But we have to address these things. And when I say sustainability, everyone just looks at probably recycling or environment. No, not just that. Your city in itself has to be sustainable for everyone, for you, me, for every person who is seeking a livelihood here. Does he have a place to live, or is he going to live on a street? Once he starts living on a street, that becomes slums becomes a problem, and then goes the entire cycle. That's one aspect. Then what about your ULBs? Your ULB have to be financially sustainable. You today, I am sure, are going to see a lot of models of procurement, a lot of models of how projects are to be conceptualized. But do we really have the money to match the pace of urbanization? The answer is a wide no. Everyone would agree with it. Even you, me, the highest taxpayers, everyone. So how do you conceptualize these projects in a way that, a city can sustain it? One of the criticisms I'm sure I would like to address on the smart cities is that we can't see anything smart. Especially if you want someone who doesn't agree with the government is going to say there is no smart city. No, there is. When a project is said to be completed, that means a road is built. It is going to be used for 100 years. Same as an ICCC. It took 7 years to build it, but now in 7 years you will see that ICCC is monitoring where your leakage is, plugging it faster. So all of these are going to take time. For them to be sustainable, we need to come up with innovative ways. And that's what cities are looking at. There are progressive cities, Pune, one of the cities, PCMC, they are now looking every project with the lens of sustainability. And when I say that, they'll pick up, say, an urban mobility project, and they'll see what all, not only the impact of how much sustainability will bring to the city, but also how it is being delivered, what material is used, what kind of components are being inbuilt, are they hampering something else to build it? There is another very contentious component is riverfront development. Everyone wants a Sabarmati because that looks pretty. But then we have few people who will, of course, and they have their rationale to come up and say that it's decreasing the biodiversity. But a balance has to be struck. We can ensure biodiversity is maintained somewhere, also have a riverfront. Because riverfront will enable one, no encroachment, saving the river. Second, can have solar rooftops, making it energy efficient. Providing that, and there are cases where these rooftops are enabling energy requirements of the municipal corporation. So that balance, that sustainability quotient has to be brought in, and that's where the cities are looking.
And I'm sure tech will continue to have an increasing role, whether it is digital twins, AI, ML, quantum computing. Some of these advanced digitalization tools are going to help process data in real time and going to help us make really fast decisions. One of the aspects you talked is about energy, which is also one of the pillar of smart city, and the energy transition aspect of moving away from fossil fuels to, let's say, clean and green energy like let's say solar. Small modular reactors, solar, wind, everybody knows, but now the government is giving focus on nuclear power in the form of small modular reactors or Bharat small reactors, or there is a big thrust on green hydrogen, which is going to make the whole thing sustainable. And quickly to your point, there is an apprehension that is all these data centers using large language modules consume enormous power. So on the hand, there is a nice balancing to be done. A simple Google search, and a Google search using Meta or Chat GPT or some of the LLM models, there is a 10 times more consumption of energy. So data centers, while they take us forward, we have to be also mindful of the downside of the...
And they are mindful.
They are mindful.
Like
I'm sure, yes.
At this for the government, they are.
Yes.
Maharashtra and specifically Mumbai is the biggest data center hub in the country. We may hear Bangalore, Hyderabad are racing away. Yes, they are, but data centers come to us because we have the best facilities here, especially the Navi Mumbai and the coastal region, because we have the fiber coming in from the sea, and that's the fastest, and we have been capitalizing on them. So now, this may not specifically smart city, but yes, government is trying to ensure that these data centers are set up on a renewable energy.
See,
And they consume
there was
that.
an article which revealed that Google's data centers are emitting so much carbon that they had to push back their net zero targets. But I think this is for another day, another topic. Can I go to you, Ashok, once again? In the process of conceiving this Dholera smart city, which is India's first high-tech city, there must be some invaluable lessons you must have learned. Some mistakes we did because there was no precedence that you corrected. You got better in doing things. What are those invaluable lessons that can actually be plowed back in future so that what took more time can be crashed as we make forward-looking development of newer smart cities? Any lessons that you'd like to share?
Lessons was this, actually the Dholera was ki, Dholera was like that कि टाउन प्लानिंग 3 phases थे और 6 टाउन प्लानिंग्स थी. And first phase was started as a TP1, TP2. And lessons ये था कि फास्ट करना था, but it will take a years. Entire Dholera SIR complete होने के लिए near about 15 to 20 years लगेंगे. एंड इन्वेस्टर्स जो आ रहे थे तो उनका माइंड था कि इतना साल लगेगा, जनरल जो थॉट प्रोसेस होता है. बट गवर्नमेंट काफ़ी क्लियर थी कि फास्ट बनाना है. तो पहला फेस उन्होंने जब स्टार्ट किया एल ने विद इन 3-4 years आफ्टर कोविड फास्ट बना के आज 148 स्क्वायर किलोमीटर के जो हैं रोड्स रास्ते बन चुके हैं. एंड पोल्स वगैरह भी सब बने. टोटली इट्स लाइक आई से कि सेंसर बेस्ड है. एंड काफ़ी अच्छे तरीके से बना हुआ है. मतलब बोलने जाएंगे तो काफ़ी समय लग जाता है मुझे. तो उसमें जो है ये लेसन्स है कि पूरा जो बनने में 10-15 उसको क्लियर आउट करने के लीनियर टीपी डिक्लेयर हुआ कि जो मेन रोड है फ्रॉम अहमदाबाद टू भावनगर दोनों साइड 2-2 किलोमीटर में लीनियर टीपी डिक्लेयर किया कि जल्द से जल्द पूरा बन जावे. मेन जो होता है जो मेन नेशनल हाईवे के आसपास है जल्दी डेवलपमेंट होता है, जैसे इन्होंने कहा कोस्टल एरिया में आगे नहीं है. तो ये काफ़ी क्योंकि रॉ से शुरू हुआ है, ज़ीरो से शहर स्टार्ट हुआ है, तो जो चैलेंजेस नॉर्मल सिटीज़ में होते हैं वो ना आए, इस तरह से इसको बनाया गया है. तो ये इसलिए बहुत फास्ट बन रहा है. और अगले 10 साल में तो पूरा सिटी जो है मतलब इट्स लाइक बॉम्बे का कंपैरिजन बोलूँ कंपेयर टू कल्याण चर्चगेट से विरार, इतना बड़ा सिटी है जो फास्ट आपको दिखेगा. और उसमें रेट्स भी मैंने जो देखे हैं टेमिनसली रेट्स रिवाइज हो रहे हैं. लास्ट जब इनिशियली स्टेजेस में 3-4 times बढ़ रहे थे, आज विद इन अ ईयर 10 times भी हो चुके हैं कुछ एरियाज में लाइक दैट. तो ये लेसन है स्मार्ट सिटीज़ के लिए कि अगर रॉ लैंड से स्टार्ट किया जाए तो फास्ट बनता है, रेगुलर सिटी में बनाना थोड़ा डिफिकल्ट होता है. इट विल टेक अ टाइम.
Is this all learning somewhere captured and shared with the other smart city developers?
Yeah, it can, but it's not possible, I think.
No, it may not be apple to apple.
Because
but I think if you develop a playbook, whatever relevant other people can pick up, and that would also cut down their chase to perfection, you know.
They can, they can take an example of Dholera and उसके लिए thesis करें और उसको करें तो जल्द हो सकता है बाकी regular cities भी.
Very well said. Okay. All right, Shailesh, I'm going to come back to you. Now, if you look at this again, I fall back on these 8 pillars. There are many things that go in it. Infrastructure, energy, mobility, healthcare, you know, buildings above all. So all this requires multiple projects to be kicked off, and tech as we spoke, right? So one will have to prioritize these projects because you can't have multiple engines, cylinders firing at a point where the cart runs ahead of the horse, right? So you must prioritize is number one. And while stating that, let me only emphasize that Aditya made a mention of biodiversity. And you worked with water in effluent and sewage treatment, how critical it is in terms of discharges, because estimated there are 8.7 million species. 80% of them are terrestrial, 20% are oceanic. Many of them we don't even know. But because of the man-made activities, many of them are getting extinct, many of them are evolving. So protecting those, being mindful of the biodiversity protection, because biodiversity is like a nice jigsaw puzzle. If you take out one piece, the puzzle is never complete. So we have this nice interdependency on each other. So to prioritize projects, we have to have more data. And that data-based prioritization is very critical. I gave this biodiversity example in the context of water projects. So in your opinion, going forward to realize this dream of developed nation and to use smart cities as a lever to get there, what projects you think need to be prioritized and how should we go about it?
Definitely, yes. When we talk about prioritizing the projects, and I think we have certain visions, right? From time to time, we set up visions. Like the visions, 2020 was a vision where we wanted to see our nation grown infrastructurally very strong. We just had a few moments ago heard that vision 2030, 3 trillion economy, and then further
5 trillion economy.
Yeah, so 5 trillion economy. Thank you
It's
for
advanced to 2027, correct?
Right.
The policy guy can tell.
right. So then further, we have vision for 2047, which actually coincide with a centenary of our independence.
Yes.
So that's the benchmark we are trying to judge. Where do our country stand? And all of us, be the citizens, be the policymakers, be the bureaucrats, be the politicians, they all have a vision of a developed nation.
Yes.
So what we want to see is to see India as a developed nation. So what can contribute to make India a developed nation? We have to be economically strong. We have to have a high-tech infrastructure, compete with the infrastructure systems elsewhere, as well as we have to have an educated or I may say a literate society which can actually understand the vision and have their contributions. So in this system, we can see everything is data driven, everything is technology driven. Now you spoke about wastewater system. You will be amazed that India, like it's an old data, but India somewhere generates 72,000 million liters of wastewater, and out of that, not even 30% are treated or recycled.
Look at that.
So we are wasting 70% of water, which is contaminating our ground water, which is contaminating our rivers, which is contaminating oceans. So we are just wasting that. So when we look forward to build India as a developed nation, we definitely need the help of technology. We need, suppose technology, when we talk about, we need high-speed internet. Everyone should have the knowledge of data because everything will be connected on data. Smart grid, we talk about smart grid, where water supply system leakages and all can be noticed at, ICCC center or something. So we need high-speed internet. We need good mobility system. We need the policy, strong policy about recycle, reuse.
Yes.
Right?
Circular economy.
Right. And also we need a capacity building as well as imparting education about how do we achieve the developed nation, how do we cut down on our wastage, how do we look forward towards building a sustainable global environment.
Right.
So,
right.
So those things I guess would definitely contribute towards vision of building a developed nations.
Yeah.
And developed and smart. Yeah, when we talk about smart, it's all data driven towards development, towards economic development, towards infrastructure development, and towards our own internal development, I may say.
Yeah, fair.
Right.
Yeah, fair. So I promised Prasad and Sagar that we will keep our discussions very sharp to 45 minutes. So I'm going to open up to the floor for questions. But a quick reflection question to both of you. Majority of India still lives in villages. One of the perception battle that we are not winning today about smart cities is nothing appear smart, which you tried to challenge, right? One reason being there is immense rural to urban migration which we are not able to abate and control. So we will succeed this perception battle only if we are able to make our villages also self-sufficient. So the smart city definition cannot remain just limited to tier 1 metros or tier 2 metros. It is also imperative that we need to make our villages self-sufficient. So quick reflection point, briefly if you can talk about it.
So yes, we are trying to address that. Now the government is working on a concept of cities being engines of growth. When they do that, they are not looking at key urban areas. Say if Mumbai becomes to be a city as engines of growth, they are not looking at developing a BKC. But they're looking at the adjoining areas where the sprouts, small centers are now growing to latch on to these. Because anyone who migrates doesn't directly come and start staying in Powai unless he is a tier 1, tier 2 graduate. They start from nearby places.
Sure.
Even the new Urban Challenge Fund that has been proposed is going to focus on those. Similarly, if you look at Maharashtra specifically, our CM just mentioned a couple of weeks back about focusing on 100 growth centers. These growth centers are nothing but the Tehsil Taluka places which are no longer villages and neither are towns but are small enterprising places, and
Wonderful.
how that infra can be put in.
Yes.
So I think the focus has shifted. We can definitely leverage the smart city infra to drive that growth.
So smart city is not about India, but it's also about Bharat. Can I say
Yes,
that? Yeah,
it is,
okay.
it is
Quick comments. Do you have any?
Yeah, I think I would more like to build smart villages. As you rightly said, that it's not only about smart cities. What do we think about the villages? We talk about
Absolutely.
migration and all. I think the villages are living quite comfortable life, except for the economic factor. So most of the migration happens to have a good livelihood in economic way. So they have a better environment, they have a less AQI, the water is not contaminated in villages, but still people migrate to cities to have a livelihood.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I think providing a livelihood in villages or tier 2 cities would improve the chance of building a developed nation. So we should definitely look forward in that way also.
So it's like a spaghetti, isn't it? You
Right.
can't solve one problem. in
I think
isolation.
we are already
But-
on to that, right? Like decentralization, we are working on
Going
that.
there, yeah.
Right. So that's
Good.
a way.
No, absolutely. So quick, we have about just about 5-7 minutes left, right? So there are a couple of questions, if I can take from the audience, please.
Sir, very important thing right from Modi Sahab has come, we are talking about smart city. And till today, I think not a full smart city has come. And with the discussion and the last point which we just told, to me it looks that in India still we are talking smart buildings, not the smart cities. What is the definition of a smart city? Definition of a smart city is that it caters to the basic needs of the people living in that thing. Whether it is education, whether it is games, whether it is business, whether it is working. I happened to work for a solar project 15 kilometers from Dholera. And at that time, I read about Dholera project. I was surprised the kind of buildings they are making with the kind of better infrastructure, internets and everything, all
Yes.
these kind of things. But moment you come out of the building, you come to a normal, unplanned things. So my question is that when you make a smart city, how much you take care of the facts that encroachment will not be allowed? The footpaths will be taken care in that. Every point on public place when a person has to do parking, like in Western world, you
Only
have to
fair,
pay the
sir.
money.
We
So
got the
all
point.
these things
Yeah.
are really important. Until and unless these things are made properly, just having a good technology and making a very nice building is not a smart city at all.
And I think everybody in the room will agree with most of the points.
But it
you
is
made.
not being followed.
Yeah. So
It is not being followed. You are saying in Pune, where the smart
Fair
city
enough.
is coming,
Fair
you
enough.
cannot walk next to that.
Fair enough, sir. I think, you know what, I'll perhaps let Aditya do a quick answering. That, this is like a sapling that was planted 10 years back. It is growing. It is from bush to a tree, and it will go to a full-blown, what can I say, a banyan tree. These things will take time. And while we solve that piece, there are other things like rural to urban migration so that the city infra is not outpaced by the inrush of people. So it's a multiple directional problem, but quick comment or two because I have another question waiting.
Sure, sir. While we agree that in a dream or in an ideal place, this should all happen, you need to understand the smart city mission was very categoric about how they will approach. For infra project, they had to pick an area. So Pune, I'll take the example. ABD area was picked up as Aund Baner. All the infra, all the landscaping, all urban spaces are being done there. I know when you refer we can't walk because there's a metro coming up. Metro was not under them. It is a complex situation of multiple authorities. We can't help that. But if you see the areas that are built into for walk zones, they would have those. Replicating that across Pune, that comes under the Pune Municipal Corporation and also the DMA for them to come up with those guidelines. It will come up. It's not like.
So Aditya, the long story short is, it is still a work in progress. We can't judge the success of smart city with a work in progress thing, right?
Yeah.
It will take some time, but we are not winning the perception battle. You're right. Quickly, sir. Please, if you can focus on the question because we are...
Hello, good afternoon to everyone here. My name is Hakeem Jawadwala. My question is like that, ki when you are conceptualizing a city, why don't you consider the wider roads and including metro network for the anticipating population to settle down over there? Here we are having cost overruns, we are having time overruns, which is depleting our resources. Secondly, if I come across any metro line, I say my child, ki this is the pillar being erected. In future, it will be a metro network. So by the time he gets down to use that metro, he is already a grandfather. So this kind of things are not going to help any country.
Yeah.
And secondly, we are ushering in an area of slums, which requires a lot of resources to remove them. And they become legitimate landholder of that particular area. So this kind of thing has to be prevented by the law enforcing agencies and all those people.
Only fair observations, only fair point. I think it takes time for elephant to dance, or else we go to the communist world that there is slum today, gone tomorrow. So I think we have to look at that as a peril of democracy. Any comment anyone has? Quick comment to his observation.
They are planning. I'll give you 2 examples on metro.
Yeah, quick.
Pune, they planned PCMC very fast. Now you see a PCMC line is up and running. Everyone, even if the child was there, he's using in his teens, not when he's grandfather for sure. Nagpur, everyone says they don't need a network.
Changing.
So Nagpur has a great network. Everyone says they don't need a network. But 10 years down the line, all grandfathers to children, everyone would be happy.
So
Pune city is difficult. We can't help it.
So again, the same, we are looking at, it's the tale of a 10 blind men and an elephant. You are looking at a piece and thinking that's the way it is, but it's much bigger. But quickly.
Yeah. Hi, sir. Rahul here. Since you, at the end of the discussion, you mentioned about smart villages. So just wanted to know, like smart cities, there are certain parameters and a complete policy was designed, and what defines a smart city with different customization. Is there a document or something where something like this is happening for a village? Or is it coming up?
I think we do have certain policies available for development of rural areas, right? We have Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Urban, we have Pradhan Mantri Gramin Awas Yojana, right? We have education system planned for cities, we have education system planned for the villages. So these are few parameters which try to uplift the, the quality and the lifestyle of a rural area also. So I think through these parameters, through these policies, definitely we can view some development in rural area also. But it would be best to leave rural, the perception of rural in its own. We should not try to make it a city. Then the whole fun of having a rural and urban difference will be gone. Today, I think most of us here, so many people, of my age, we plan to live in a rural area after retirement, not in a city.
Yeah, I think, things like sustainable agriculture, more crop per drop. solar pumps instead of electricity-based diesel pumps are some of the things which are going to make villages self-sustainable. And plus, like he rightly said, we got to create employment so that the population in rural areas stay there, which could be in the form of processing or agriculture allied industries. But it's a big topic. We'll take it offline. One last question, she says, and we will be done. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Sachin Deshpande. I have some observations. Like there is always a
You have to be really brief, huh?
Yeah, brief. There is always a complaint. We have all metros, we have BRTs of the world. Still, why cars are plenty? So one of the thing is that when we plan that, we don't plan for the last mile connectivity. Or probably, let's say, we don't plan for the, let's say anybody wants to have a car which we can park in a metro station. We don't have that facility. So why this is not, this is very basic, right? This has to be implemented. Otherwise, we will keep on having cars. We'll complain that we have many cars, but that is what the case.
That is true. I mean, I don't know whether we have any good answers, but all we can say that, you are only echoing observations, thoughts that all of us have in this room. We only remain optimistic, sir. Things are changing for better. Indeed, the pace can be much better than we would like it to be right now. But let's keep our optimism on. It's very easy to become cynical and critical that things are not changing and, some of the comments we heard here. But, we got to be buoyant, optimistic, resurgent about new India that is shaping up. Indeed, day to day, the picture in a tactical mode may not be as exciting, but if you look at the big picture on the world, India is that bright, shining spot, and we indeed hope the future belongs to India, right? On that note, I think we would like to conclude. Thank you so much to fellow panelists for those insightful thoughts, experiences. Thank you so much, audience, for those wonderful, thought-provoking questions. Not sure we had comprehensive, convicting answers for it. Not sure there are any. But I think the work in progress is the message to be given. Optimism, excitement about future, committing to country's future is the message we would like to leave as a panel, as a food for thought for you. Thank you once again, Prasad, Sagar, for inviting us. Thank you once again for being great audience.